Well, it's Halloween, so you know what that means, right? It means that I get to play something even more ridiculous than usual. Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for a special Halloween video. And today we have been asked to specifically build a vampire deck list. Yes, for Legacy. So, are you tired of Orcish Bowmasters, Grief, Plague Engineer, and friends that aren't vampires in your mono black deck? Well, good news, they're not allowed today. Cody has asked me to build a vampire deck, and vampires, historically speaking, have been a relatively strong creature type. Back kind of in the Zendikar block era, it wasn't uncommon for recurring bloodghasts to be a major pain in the butt in sort of a very aggressive vampire deck list. And then a couple years later, we got the aristocrat style deck lists that were seeking to sacrifice their creatures for a lot of value, with creatures like Doomed Traveler that made extra bodies, so you didn't really mind sacrificing your stuff. And these are the things that come to mind when I sort of think of competitive vampire deck lists. But kind of the problem is removal's really good in Legacy. So trying to build an aggressive mono black deck that is like throwing an arm behind its back and not playing like the Grief Reanimate scam package is probably not going to work out in today's world. And the aristocrat style stuff doesn't work quite as well when some of your stuff just gets exiled and either the counters you stack up don't end up going the distance, or your recursive things like Bloodghast don't end up coming back. And that kind of leaves us in a weird spot. I'm going to show you two deck lists. The first one was the cute one that I built, and the second one is the no-nonsense version. Now, today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com as well as Cool Stuff Inc. If you need paper magic cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. So this is version 1 that I came up with that was going to try to do some of the aristocrat style stuff. The deck was hoping to take advantage of Cordial Vampire. Whenever it or another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control. And the idea was to use Bloodghast, which can come back off of fetch lands, along with Viscera Seer, in order to go and put a whole bunch of +1/+1 counters on our team. And the backup plan was going to be Sorin Show and Tell, as Sorin's -3 ability can put a vampire, even a dinosaur vampire, into play. And kind of the issue that I ran into is both of these ideas are just bad versus Swords to Plowshares, right? Swords to Plowshares takes out your recursive creature, or Swords to Plowshare answers your giant payoff card. And the Dream of Dark Ritual Sorin, turn 1, 12/12, like, that's awesome. But I didn't think it was going to be competitive to work out, and it felt like I was just going to get stomped all of my rounds. So I went back to the drawing board, and for the old Phil fans, like Twitch Phil fan days, you'll remember that I did an April Fool's stream where I played around with vampires and Lashwrithe. Well, basically, I'm back on my bullshit. So the idea today is going to be to play, on average, decent quality cards. My biggest problem with this deck list is that when you look at most of the cards in this deck list, most of them are just like noticeably not Legacy power level. And all the cards here I have played at in Legacy, mostly unironically, at some point, except the Lashwrithe. So our goal for today is going to be to play a bunch of life-linking vampires and use that to take advantage of the One Ring. In the early game, we can Dark Ritual into the One Ring, use that as a source of card advantage, and then gain all of the life back with our vampires. And to make sure that we can gain a whole lot of life, we're going to throw a couple of Lashwrithes in that will give us +1/+1 for each swamp we control. And Lashwrithe has this really cool upside of not letting you trick yourself into putting Takenuma into your deck list. And I think that's really important for the success of this deck. So we're going to have 8 game 1 removal options. We have edicts specifically. I think being able to answer planeswalkers is pretty important. We'll see if not having targeted removal ends up biting me in the butt. And then we also have 8 game 1 discard options, so we've got some balanced stuff other than just the vampires here. As far as the sideboard goes, we're going to focus on the unfair matchups, as hopefully just having a pile of Death Touchers means we're at least somewhat competitive in the fair matchups. There's a major Nanbo in the deck list. Being a mono black deck, we're just not good at dealing with artifacts. So I'm going to play Null Rods with the intention of, if we run into something like 8-Cast or Painter, just removing my copies of the One Ring to play the Null Rods, and just kind of accepting that Lashwrithe might be bad in those cases. So yeah, let's play this super for serious tournament try-hard League of Legacy. All right, this first hand doesn't really do anything until turn 3 at a minimum. I think I'm going to mulligan this one. This is a little underpowered, but I at least have the potential of a 1-2-3 curve. So we'll see what we're facing down. Okay. I don't super care about the counter spells. Yes, I'm taking the Bowmasters right now. Because if I draw a copy of the One Ring, that's a pain in the butt. This is going to be a slow game. I'm going to be looking to get to land drop 4 before playing a lot of stuff here. So yeah. My opponent find a cantrip? They did. They're just probably looking for more mana. And they shuffled? Yep, we are going to go and just make land drops. I started out at 21 lands and then went up to a 22nd. Your wasteland does nothing here, fool. Nice. Opponent cannot. Well, I guess they could double daze here. Pay for 1, then return a Watery Grave to hand. They do not. Note that at some point this will require an actual removal spell, as it will trade with Death Shadow. Okay, sure. Nice. I think I do go ahead and attack. I could sit back, but I think I am just going to enjoy my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different removal spells and be content with that. Send them. So do I want to play a card and trade for double daze? That would be like trading one of these for a Force of Will. Actually, well, creature, land, sorcery. I guess I just play Vampire Nighthawk first. Death Shadows player is wondering what they did wrong in life to get paired against me this morning. Alright, Force of Will, pitching a daze. Understood. Ponders are fine. Thoughtseize is fine. Probably takes my Nighthawk Scavenger, unfortunately. No, it took the Gatekeeper. Reasonable. This turn's a little awkward mana-wise. But it's hard for me to play both of these. I think I'm just going to Thoughtseize this turn. And see where this goes. My opponent Force of Wills and pitches daze. Multiple Death Shadows. I probably still just take one. Alright, 1, 2, 3. These are my opponent's 4 cards. I don't want to play Nighthawk Scavenger into daze. If my opponent plays Death Shadow, I can kick a Shoulder's Edict. Or not kick a Shoulder's Edict, that's not how that card works. I can cast a Shoulder's Edict on their turn to use my mana. They're going to go for a Reanimate on Orcish Bowmasters in order to try to play around an Edict on a Death Shadow. That's perfectly reasonable. Puts them to 6. So why don't you sacrifice a non-token creature for me? And we'll see if they want to force to protect. They do not. Nice. So we'll send in. I assume my opponent blocks. I am wrong. They're going to play around a regular Edict. Let's let Vampire Nighthawk get Force of Willed instead of the larger Nighthawk Scavenger. It's Force of Will, pitching Daze. Opponent's at 3. One Nighthawk Scavenger hit will be lethal. It'll be a big deal whether or not my opponent just like draws a blue card to pair with Death Shadow this turn naturally. Am I getting attacked? I am not. I just play Gifted Aetherborn, right? Don't let my opponent force this one. I think that's correct. Okay, it's in play. In which case I would have rather had this one. But you can't have it all. Oh wow. We're just trading. Sure. Once I connect one more time, my opponent doesn't get to, like, Force of Will or fetch again. Reanimate the Death Shadow. Sure. If Nighthawk Scavenger goes down here. I guess I just Edict the Shadow away again. Sacrifice a non-token creature. Okay, it just worked. So this chump block is required. Yes. Yes. There's a bit of sick satisfaction here in the fact that this actually is working. I imagine that I'm sideboarding 0 cards. I could get rid of the One Ring to play around Orcish Bowmasters. If I were my opponent, would I be siding out Orcish Bowmasters? It doesn't... I didn't show them a single piece of card draw, but I showed them edicts. They might still have it. Inquisition missing Force of Will and Murktide Region is kind of a big deal here. I think I'm going to keep the One Ring, accepting that sometimes it's just fog. I don't think I need to be in any hurry in this matchup if that game is sort of going to be typical. I think I'm okay just keeping this. It's a little awkward if my opponent, like, turn 1 reanimates something after I keep a hand. Holy hell, that looks like this. Okay. I hope my opponent has a troll, because otherwise I think they're in trouble. No troll. Okay. Nope. Alright, they drew troll for turn. We're not that bad off if my opponent can just reanimate it. I get edicts 3 different turns in a row. You may Thoughtseize me. It's awkward because my opponent probably wants to take an edict, but might have to take a hymn. Okay. It feels to me like if my opponent leaves him, that they have Daze. So I think I am supposed to just play around Daze here and Thoughtseize my opponent. Okay. No Daze like I was expecting. I don't mind playing around it. I think I just take the thing that plays around Gatekeeper the best and take their Orcish Bowmasters. And my opponent will probably cantrip to find some protection for this Death Shadow. I'm hoping that they don't deploy the Death Shadow this turn so that I have time to cast Hymn to Torok. That's no shuffle. So Troll was either the card they just kept or their draw for turn. My opponent not willing to lose more life here. And there is the Death Shadow. So it's possible that I'm supposed to just take a hit from the Death Shadow to hymn my opponent while Hymn is still a reasonable card, and I think I am going to do so. I don't think I'm in a rush here, but I really don't want, like, if one of these cards is a Force of Will, I don't want to lose one of these removal spells. Let's try to take out these cantrips. Okay, we succeeded in taking out the cantrips. My opponent's remaining card is Watery Grave. We are in great shape now. Orcish Bowmaster specifically to play around my Gatekeeper would be a little bit annoying. Second Death Shadow is fine. I must have lost track of that Watery Grave at some point. Okay, I mean, that was very good. Alright. So, I have one way that I can cast 2 spells this turn, and it's playing both of these, so that is probably just what I should do. So, sacrifice a non-token creature. This clears Bowmasters. And then I will play something that trades with 1 copy of Death Shadow. And then I can play a Vampire Nighthawk that trades with the second one. And then at some point, Gatekeeper will do some work. I think you're I think I'm always trading with a Death Shadow here. So this attack is just free. Dark Ritual. That's good unless my opponent's final card is Daze. I am fine with this. I don't think I can take the extra 4 on my turn to just block this and then make this edict better. Ooh, the last card is Daze. I am punished. Like, the Death Shadow is stalled out by Vampire and Nighthawk. And I think the top deck war favors me. Wasteland, target Wasteland. Fatal Push? Fatal Push, sure. That's fine. Ooh, I might die here. Okay. We're back into the top deck war. I think I'm still favored. Alright, I trade with Death Shadow. I end up gaining life this combat. Can't afford too many misses here. I am on a 5-turn clock from this orc. I'm at 4. Please don't let me bottom out. This one will be 3. And I have to start worrying about my opponent having counterspells at this point. Ooh, it's probably a Murktide Regent. So I'm dead if I miss on this draw. Did not miss on the draw. It's a little awkward, admittedly. So this is Fog. I think I take the redraw. Okay, that's not bad. It's not great either, but it's not bad. It means I can at least Legend Rule the first one. But an Orcish Bowmasters is real awkward. Alright, lose 1. Attempt to draw some cards. Succeeded in drawing some cards. Cast Dark Ritual. This takes out both of my opponent's cards, whatever they are. Cast Hymn to Torok. Takes out 2 lands. I will cast a new copy of the One Ring. Keep this one. Do I draw? I feel like I don't draw. I can maybe draw next turn, but I just need a lifelinker in play to gain the necessary life for me to not die to my own ring. That's fine. Alright, follow-up cantrip. It was a shuffle. Alright. So in theory, I can draw a card off the One Ring, play Nighthawk Scavenger, attack with Nighthawk Scavenger the following turn cycle, and not die to my own One Ring. I think I'm going to greed it here. Alright. So this is enough for Lashwrithe equip on Nighthawk Scavenger next turn. Do not have enough life to Thoughtseize. Margins are tight as fuck here. Dead to a removal spell. Dead to a removal spell. Alright. That'll do. GG. I don't think I'm supposed to play around Daze that one turn. Like, it's possible I'm supposed to take, when my opponent attacks in with double Death Shadow and Orc token, it's possible I am supposed to block the Orc token to turn on my edicts for the actual Death Shadows that follow. I think that one was winnable. So, when I'm on the play here, do I want to Inquisition versus the One Ring? I still think I keep the One Ring. Like, it's Fog for those Murktide Regent style turns, and I am ultimately 1-for-1ing my opponent. I would like a way to pull ahead. Like, the One Ring is definitely awkward. I think I need it. This is fine. This is more discard heavy than I would like my keep to be. I would like my keep to just be full of removal. The discard spells are kind of like removal, just before the creature hits play, right? Right? Alright. Let's start taking some cards. I probably just take the Reanimate here. Don't want my opponent slipping an early creature into play. I am going to have to play off kilter around Daze here, which is awkward, but fine. Alright. My opponent will probably shock and ponder. Yep. I don't get to him because Daze, but I still have a valid play. Alright. Let's Thoughtseize again. Probably just take the Brainstorm here, because the Brainstorm lets my opponent protect their best cards from this Hymn to Torok. which I would not like my opponent to do. The downside of this play is if my opponent draws exactly Reanimate as their draw, they get a troll into play, which is what happened. Sure. This one's annoying, because it doesn't get blocked by Nighthawk Scavenger. So my opponent has Ponder, Daze, Land. I can just play this turn, and then it offsets most of the damage of this. No, I can't play this turn, because Daze is a thing. Yeah, annoying. Okay. Then I guess I try to take out the Ponder. All right, we take out Ponder and Delta. My opponent's last card is Daze, which I should be able to play around for the rest of the game. And then we'll just kind of see whether or not Nighthawk Scavenger ends up successfully racing Troll. It'll depend on draw steps. That's not bad, though. I can't play it this turn, because Daze. So let's see if my 4/3 lifelinker is good. I think if I get the One Ring plus lifelink going, I win this one handily. I guess we're looking to avoid, like, Fatal Push here. Like, Fatal Push on this Nighthawk Scavenger would be really bad. Or I guess my opponent finding a Force of Will would be equally a pain in the butt. With Orcish Bowmasters also being annoying. That would require my opponent's 2 cards to be Orcish Bowmasters plus land. That was no shuffle, followed by Underground Sea. Which is scary, because to me, that means Orcish Bowmasters is pretty likely. Or Brazen Borrower. I guess we attack first to see if this just gets bounced to my hand. It doesn't. So, if my opponent has Orcish Bowmasters, then kicking this doesn't do a lot. My opponent has Orcish Bowmasters, playing this to try to draw cards. Not do a lot. I think I just take the Fog right now. And if this is Force of Will instead, I get to attempt to do this again. Okay, it is Bowmasters, which puts me to 7. So my opponent's dead in 2 swings. Do I draw cards? I am at 7 life specifically, which is a really awkward number. I guess I should think of myself at 11 life. I think I don't draw cards. I think this is just Fog. So, let's crash on in there. I need to dodge the Brazen Borrower style effects. Puts my opponent to 3. If I kick Gatekeeper, Fatal Push specifically gets turned on for Nighthawk Scavenger. I do want to remove this token, though, so that if this game goes on longer, my edicts are good. I'm going to risk it. Okay, and that's enough to do it. Vampires get there. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and I personally keep all of my deck lists for every format on this site. I love that I can go and sort them by types and tags if I need to. There's a lot of different viewing options. It can give you some math about your mana symbol, your curve, and you can even playtest and do sample opening hands with it. Check this site out if you haven't before. It's awesome. I have kept a slow but reasonable hand here. I'm hoping my opponent doesn't get on board early under things like Thoughtseize and him. Okay. Well, we are playing against a Beseech the Mirror combo deck. And I can punch really, really hard with discard. Gaia's Will just makes that a little awkward. No artifact for Beseech the Mirror as of right now. I guess I'm taking Veil of Summer. That can be a little awkward though, huh? We've got all the zones revealed over here. My discard might not end up doing a lot versus Suspended Guy as well. We have a giant pile of sideboard cards for this matchup. Like, I could legit board in 15 cards and might. Alright, my opponent went into the tank for a minute and then played their Polluted Delta. So they might be casting a Beseech just as a tutor rather than as a win condition here. So that Beseech is sacrificing the Bauble. You have a Song of Creation? Or no, Song of Creation is 4. like rug 1. A small Empty the Warrens. I don't think that would normally be enough to beat me, but I am not on any creatures right now, so it might be good enough this time. I can potentially get to the One Ring as Fog. I'm not even sure that I want to show my opponent that, though. Okay. Okay. This is 5 power. Eat your heart out, Empty the Warrens. We're still playing Magic. I think a large number of Goblin tokens end up defeating me, because my opponent just Gaia's Wills next turn for a gajillion D. But the One Ring means they won't be able to kill me. Alright. So I block 1. My opponent does net damage here. They net 2. That's fine. Okay. Do I use this Dark Ritual right now to also cast Hymn to Turok? I don't think so. I think it's more valuable the following turn when I try to play a gajillion lifelinkers. So let's do this. Gain the protection from everything. I will start stacking up the cards now. I'm going to need them. I bash in for 5. Opponent's at 14. The awkward thing here is that my opponent is going to pull some cards out of their graveyard. Right? These end up going to exile. So that is going to shrink Nighthawk Scavenger as a side effect, which is legitimately annoying. So the primary thing that I'm going to be looking to do is just find another copy of the One Ring and just fog a second time. So I can probably survive 1 turn cycle of combat damage naturally. But it's not like I'm going to 2-turn clock my opponent in all likelihood. Alright. Multiple colors of mana definitely matter here. Yep. Alright, they cast the Cabal Rid as well. And they do have 8 total mana, so they can Beseech and then empty. They do have to tap their Mox Opal first before they get all of this going. Otherwise, they're not going to have Metalcraft to tap it for their 8th mana. Alright, there's Beseech, which maybe just gets another ritual to up the storm count by 1. Okay, gets another Mox Opal. Same effect. Okay, they're going to add 1 to the storm count by using the Veil of Summer as well, which shrinks Nighthawk Scavenger by another point. Alright, so what, 10, 18, 25 power showing? No big deal. Nice, we hit another copy of the One Ring. We're good. I mean, good might be a bit of a stretch, but we're alive. So, what? I have 5, 6, 7 mana available this turn. Probably need to use the Dark Ritual to put this into play. So we'll Dark Writ first. We'll play the One Ring and draw prior to committing any other mana. Lifelinkers, I guess, are better than anything else here. We're going to have to find another copy of the One Ring, unfortunately. This is only 1 lifelink right now. Help me, Lashwrithe. Alright, opponent's at 12. I'm still alive. This is, this is what you all came here for, right? Alright, lose 1 to my copy of the One Ring. Vampire Nighthawk. Draw 2. Find a new copy of the One Ring? No. Okay. So I have 6, 7, 8 mana. 3, 6, 7, 8. So I can block 5 of these while gaining 2, 4, 6, 7 life. Oh my god, am I just short of living? Block 5, take 20, gain 2, 4, 6, 7. Puts me to 19. Yeah, I'm just short of being alive. Damn. Okay, well, we can board up to 15 cards here. Let's try to keep this separate. All right, Sheoldred's Edicts come out. Gatekeeper of Malakir's come out. Lashwrithe's come out at minimum. I'd probably just keep the goblins from getting into play in the first place, rather than trying to stop them some other way. This would be 61. Probably don't need 4 surgical extractions. 3's probably fine. And I do have to keep some number of creatures in my deck to kill my opponent. I think I'm going to keep this hand. I think I feel okay about this one. We're just going to go swamp pass here. Would you like to Thoughtseize me? I will allow it. Yep. Since I'm getting a Null Rod into play, my opponent should take one of the 2 copies of Mindbreak Trap instead. Alright, you know what? We might be okay playing a backup Null Rod, just given how this game is going here. Oh, Urza Saga. That's a really good backup plan here. Yep. I'm very light on removal right now. I was not planning for Urza Saga. Like, I, in theory, should be able to out lifelink that. But that was not in the plan. Hopefully my opponent just doesn't have another land and they can't make the tokens. Rats. That's okay. We would like to stop drawing Null Rods, though. I have no real reason to hold this, right? I'm not a Brainstorm deck. Let's put the fear in them. More honestly, like playing a 3rd one out plays around something like a Force of Vigor. But I will need some vampires off the top. Like, as long as that happens, I'm not worried about losing this game to an Urza Saga. Although I don't think I ever beat a 2nd Urza Saga. Oh? I mean, you got my attention. I guess it's possible that my opponent could just do a combo kill this turn. Just solely off ritual manas and besieges. Alright, shit. Yep, okay. Oh, no combo turn. I am just going to lose to that 2nd Urza Saga construct token, though, although I have no idea why my opponent did not make... Or, no, like, why don't you just make the 2nd Saga token if, like, Thoughtseize is your best play? Like, the 2nd Saga token means I take 1 more. I am at 13. You have 11 showing. You have 12 after another Urza Saga activation, and then any 0-cost artifact is lethal. GG's. Alright, I have kept a okay opening hand. I don't have a threat. I have a turn 2 him as a reasonable play, and I have 2 pieces of interaction versus a creature deck or planeswalker deck. Alright, sure. Are we green sunnin'? Mox Diamond. Okay, so we're playing against some sort of like Knight of the Reliquary, Elvish Reclaimer style deck list. Merit Lodge is something that I need to be thinking about. And I have Merit Lodge covered. Let's hope this Hymn to Turok is good. Because if it is, I've got a lot of time. Bah. Yep. I was really hoping to hit 2 cards there. Alright, we hit a Knight of the Reliquary. I kind of hope my opponent draws the Dark Depths, and I just get to get them with Shoulder's Edict. Nighthawk Scavenger. Let's see. So if my opponent's card is crop rotation, they crop rotation sacrificing this, and then they don't have the mana to do the thing. So I am safe to play Nighthawk Scavenger this turn, which is relatively big. The lifelink to 24 also matters a lot. Sure. Alright, we have a 2020 Tentacle monster covered. We also have every creature my opponent will play for the rest of this game covered. And unfortunately, my opponent's just flooding out here. Yeah, sure, that's fine. Sacrifice a non-token creature. Get out. Or no, there's already a creature in the graveyard for Nighthawk Scavenger. Alright, my Thoughtseize is not going to do a lot, but that's probably fine. Like, Nighthawk Scavenger just kills in 3 turns. Alright, Wasteland not doing a lot against my 22 basic swamps. No Take Numa for you to Wasteland. Nice. So this brings my opponent to 7. And we can trick them into leaving Collector Roof in their deck. I'm still going to play this and start drawing cards off of it. Alright, what are we doing here? Alright. A green sun. Sure. Gonna get endurance. I wonder if they're supposed to target themselves to shrink this. Alright, they do. Would you sacrifice a non-token creature for me? Goodbye. That grows this a little bit more. Take some damage from our ring. Draw some cards. Play a land drop. Play Nighthawk Scavenger's cousin. Bash in for 2. Opponent's at 5. I might be able to Thought Seize my opponent for lethal if they hold the card in hand. Nice. So the stuff that's good for me is essentially my pile of edicts. I don't think I'm going to sideboard for this matchup. Like, I could surgical. I don't know that it's great. Him's like not the best on the draw. My opponent will play out their stuff relatively quickly. It's still fine on a Dark Ritual hand. I could see swapping him for Inquisition. I could also see playing some number of surgicals. Specifically, I care about Life from the Loam recurring stage and depths at the same time, often exploration. And, well, that's a lot of things, like stage, depths, loam, exploration. Like, that is what my opponent's deck is trying to do, so hedging against that is probably okay. Yeah, I think on the draw, I'll lower my curve a little bit, and I'll go back to him when I'm on the play. It's fine. I'm not, like, excited about it or anything, but an edict's an edict, you know? This is just really slow against an exploration start, which it looks like we've dodged, thankfully. Alright. Gang's all here. Sure. Alrighty. Yeah, let's play Drago. I am so good with that. I don't think I play this out as a 2/2 creature right now. I think it's much more important to be able to Shoulder's Edict on curve and like disrupt the Knight of the Reliquary that my opponent plays out this turn. Although I might even just Gatekeeper that and keep the instant speed removal for later on in the game. Now that I'm thinking about it more. Sure. Okay, we're chilling. I guess I play out one of these here. I think it's possible my opponent has like a Veil of Summer. To keep that in mind for this later. Whereas this one doesn't target. I'm going to play the actual factual Vampire Nighthawk out first. It just has more power right now. Sure. And is the better thing to bait removal, was going to be the next thought. Crop rotation is fine. My opponent can pick up another Savannah, and then I assume half of the Dark Depths combo. It'd honestly be more annoying for me if they picked up something like an Urza Saga that helps them go wide. Sure. Alright. There's Knight of the Reliquary. And Collector Oof. Sure. Double creature in the same turn's a little annoying. I really need a Dark Ritual right now to help get this stuff out of hand. I think I'm going to just kind of sneak this in while Veil of Summer is down. And we'll take out the Collector Oof. Shoulder's Edict means that I can still get rid of a Merit Lage, because this lets you select token or non-token. Are you going to Bojuka Bog yourself? No. Nighthawk Scavenger. Still beefy. So, I kind of think my opponent has Veil of Summer, but I'm so tight on mana that I think I just play this anyway and let my opponent turn it into a different card. Ooh, it is an Endurance. Sure. Okay. So if my opponent gets Dark Depths, they don't have an Urborg or equivalent, so they can't play it immediately. I think I am just playing a Death Toucher accordingly. Slightly awkward. I don't think I'm in that bad of shape, though, honestly. Like, as long as nothing randomly happens to Shoulder's Edict, which I'm not expecting it to, I think I am on track to win this game. Like, once I get to a 4th mana and can safely drop a copy of the One Ring, I feel safe. Again, something that lets my opponent go wide like Urza's Saga is what's actually scary here. Okay, that's fine. That's going to be a protection duder. Oh, no, it's a reclaimer instead. Sure. Lands are great. I don't get to double spell right now. And I can't count on this as a blocker. Actually, hold on. I can just play the One Ring, right? Get protection from everything. Yeah. That's probably fine here. It's not like my opponent is usually going to make another creature token. And this will allow me to more consistently get to additional land drops and mana sources like Dark Ritual to actually get these cards out of my hand. Alright, no end of turn night activations or anything. I'm not sure if you're supposed to play out that land, honestly. It's nice to force through blockers. I don't remember if I've showed my opponent one of these. I thought I did in game 1. Alright, I lose 1 life. Make a land drop. Draw some cards. We could have 7 mana. It's not super worth using the Dark Ritual this turn. Let's just continue to get bodies on board and play this one safe. I don't think I am attacking yet. I don't want to be forced into some weird situation where my opponent makes a Merit Lodge and then can make another one on this turn still somehow. Yeah. Then I'll have them go to their turn where these abilities aren't up. And now I will Sheoldred's Edict. Sacrifice a creature token. Now my opponent can work towards another one relatively quickly. Hopefully that's fine. Swords to Plowshares. Oh, okay. We are at the turn creature sideways portion of the game. I would like to trade for Knight of the Reliquary here. Also, did my opponent's swords gifted Aetherborn rather than Nighthawk Scavenger? They did. Alright. Let's draw some cards. Nice. I probably just Surgical Extraction Dark Depths right now. Is this life? I have 6, 7, 8 mana this turn. Lashwrithe is a surprise for next turn. Yeah. I think I'll Surgical Extraction using mana on Dark Depths. Crop Rotation specifically is awkward. And Endurance, sure. So my opponent can nuke their graveyard for this to serve as a counter spell. And they do. That's fine. Is this still a surprise, or do I now just pivot and just play this as a 6/6? Yeah, this can just be a 6/6. And then it's a little better on mana efficiency. I don't think I need to pay 4 life to move it over here. At least not immediately. This feels like cube. Feels like I'm putting my opponent through a cube draft from hell. Alright, cool. We have weathered the turn. I will be able to play a new copy of the One Ring this turn. Let's see what's going on over there before anything else happens. It is a wasteland. Fantastic. In that case, let's just go 1, 2, 3. Play a new one of these. Let's go 2 mana to equip this here. I would like to gain 8 life. Alright. My opponent would... Oh. Yeah, the second one of these got shuffled back in, right? Well, that's awfully cute. So I can't move my Lashwrithe back this turn. At the same time, that does mean that my opponent is not advancing towards Dark Depths combo, which is also fine. So I don't gain the life. This is fine, though. Knight of the Reliquary is fine. Sure. As long as I have a Sheoldred's Edict so that I can answer a Merit Lage token, most other stuff doesn't matter. And here we see the One Ring just absolutely doing some heavy lifting. The land drop, grow that. Draw 4 cards. We'll do some stuff post-combat. We'll do some stuff post-combat. Both can just attack, right? a Death Touch. And I'm going to have protection from everything. Send them. Yeah, I'm fine with the trade. My opponent goes to 9. Nighthawk Scavenger is lethal next turn. I'm not going to count my mana. I hope you'll forgive me. But I'm pretty sure I'm using that Dark Ritual this turn. Yep. Let's play a Vampire Nighthawk. Do I need to hold up Shoulder's Edict right now? My opponent could tutor for 1/2. They don't have enough mana to activate. I think that means I can just play a second Vampire Nighthawk safely right now. Is 3, 6, 7. I'll just draw a card on my opponent's end step. Sure. All right, there's half the combo as expected. Okay. We'll draw a card end of turn. Sure. Lose my 1. All right. Let's see if we can just draw more removal here to end the game this turn. I mean, it's removal. We are fine casting that. It at least forces some action from my opponent. Please sacrifice a creature. Okay. That's fine. We'll send in with the crew here. Bam, bam, bam. Opponent is like giving it the good old college try, and I do respect it. So Savannah goes down. Gets Dark Depths. Oh, it gets Maze of Ith. Sure. And then Reclaimer happens. Finding a Dark Depths. My opponent will lose 2 lands. Make their creature token. Please sacrifice a creature token. Get rid of the 20/20. My opponent can maze this and either take 4 or lose endurance and take 2. They will lose endurance. Take 2. I don't need protection from everything right now. I'll just drop another threat. I'll pass the turn. Next turn I can move a Lashwrithe to a Gatekeeper to have another valid attacker. Are you ready to tap out yet? Nope. I'll lose 2 to the One Ring. Play a land. Let's just see what's going on over there before I draw any cards. Sure. Well, I'll lose some life. I'll draw some cards. Let's move one of these to a Gatekeeper. That way I have 3 valid attackers. I don't think I need to play a Shoulder's Edict and try to end this game. Bam. It might be deterministically lethal, but I don't remember what game we're in. And if my opponent is going to continue to take game actions and this is not game 3, then I'm going to continue to run down their clock. Alright, they maze a flyer. Alright, we're in a double block situation. I think I just killed a Reclaimer. Weird as that is to say. Because the Reclaimer can sacrifice a land. This only sacrifices forests or plains. And the Knight actually might end up getting big. Okay. Gonna activate Elvish Reclaimer now. How big is this? 12/12. My opponent could also wasteland one of their own lands. We're good with this. Okay, they are going to wasteland one of their own lands. Yeah, this is fine. Alright. My opponent goes to 4. Play a Nighthawk Scavenger. Let's play a Gifted Aetherborn. And call it a turn. I could probably play one more creature here. I don't think I have to. I'm playing with my food at this point, though. Alright, that was for the match. GG's. Alrighty. One land, probably not gonna do it here. Let's mulligan for something a little safer. Yeah, this is fine. So now it becomes, do I want to hedge against creatures by keeping double Gatekeeper, or do I want to keep a threat? I'm really on the fence about this. I think I'm going to diversify the hand rather than hedge in one specific direction. I don't really know whether or not that's correct. Like, if I keep double Edict, I get much better against certain types of decks. Alright, we are here for a fucking grind again, folks. Let's go. Okay, I mean, Shoulder's Edict is great. That gives me game versus early Merit Lage. Damn it. So, damn, okay. This opponent has Urza Saga. Welp. Fuck me, I guess. I am not sure that I just beat Urza's Saga. Ooh, hold on. My opponent's not making tokens immediately. If they cast Life from the Loam. I don't know, I just don't think I beat this deck in game 1. My Shoulder's Edicts are just worse. Not having access to Wasteland is rough here. I don't think Wasteland's supposed to be in my deck, but Urza Saga specifically is a problem card. I think I am never winning this game. I am not going to show my opponents more cards. Like, I think it is tactically correct to hide information and then plan on surgically extracting Urza Saga in the next game and also having more outs to Life from the Loam. I'm just not beating that as is. We probably go down him to Turok for surgicals. Is Inquisition just better than Thoughtseize? Close. But there could be random sideboard cards like Force of Vigor or like a random Minskin Boo that it could miss. I think I'm willing to accept the 2 life loss to hedge against random nonsense. It's very similar to the last hand. I'm going to keep it. Like, I don't know that it's reasonable to throw back a hand that has the One Ring because that card is so good here. Hey, exactly what I was talking about. Force of Vigor destroys. This is indestructible. I don't care about the Force of Vigor right now. I will take the Mox Diamond to slow down my opponent's plan. I have Shoulder's Edict as well as Gatekeeper to stop my opponent's nonsense. And I guess I have a decision about whether or not I want to play a 2/2 attacker out. Feels like no. Like, if my opponent plays an Urza Saga in their plan pivots, I need to be able to clear the tokens. Fuck Urza Saga. That card's so good against my deck. Alright. So I guess there is some element of, does my opponent know to play around Shoulder's Edict? I don't think they turbo or Merit Lage here. We got the exclamation marks from my opponent in chat. Good stuff. Alright, there's Taiga. Okay, land is really good for me here. Like, I'm very happy with that. That gives me something meaningful to do with my turn. Alright. I guess I'll draw a card. Alright, we've got Edicts for days now. We just have to wiggle into a spot where we can beat the incoming token. We'll also see whether or not my opponent is making Saga tokens here, or whether or not they're just going for the big boy. Ooh, Pithing Needle for the One Ring is fun. Just bleeds me for 1 damage a turn. Okay, not playing out the Dark Depths yet. I have protection from everything. Cool. So, kick it. Take out 1 token. Bam. Play Gifted Aetherborn. And swing on in there. I think I'm good. Saving, like, another Urza Saga. Because my plan is 5 mana, kick, get rid of this, Shoulder's Edict, get rid of the Dark Depths token. Alright, we're chilling. I'm on a 21 turn clock to my own ring. Alright, kick this. Please sacrifice a creature. Goodbye construct token. Send them. A little mistake here, my opponent didn't tap the Dark Depths for mana. And now I know they don't have crop rotation. Please sacrifice a creature token. Alright, I get in for 6 points of damage. I have 8 damage on board. My opponent is at 9. That's going to be too slow. Punishing Fire helps. Alright. So this gets in 6 points of damage. My opponent does not have red available. My opponent is, I think, dead on board. They'll need something like a Mazavith. My opponent says they fear a Gary. That is a Grey Merchant of Asphodel. And not a vampire. Right? I'm gonna check. Zombie. So, Force of Vigor hits exactly Lashwrithe. Do I want to do the swapsy? Like, a random Minsc Boo or two is still a thing that my opponent reasonably could have. I am willing to pay the 2 life tax to play around just a sideboard Haymaker. I'm gonna say no to this. 5. This is a weak hand. Does this 5 card hand win me the game? Or am I going to try to mulligan towards a Dark Ritual One Ring hand? This hand always loses to Urza Saga. This hand sometimes beats a Merit Lage. Usually beats a Merit Lage. Let's keep it. I think this is worse than gambling on the first hand that I draw the land to put the One Ring into play. That's a fucking Urza Saga. Ugh. Card is so good against me. Holy shit. Alright, my opponent has Dark Depths and Thespian Stage. Yeah, they can try to punk me if they want. I don't think they're supposed to. I think they're just supposed to Expedition Map search for Saga and fuck me up. Because, like, this... I don't know. Like, it's reasonable to put me to the test and make me have the Edict here. But I think they just... Oh, I see. They're going to play both out and then just not go for it. Sure. But if you just search for it on your own main phase, you have Urza Saga tokens as of this turn, which feels like a huge deal. Now, that said, I think both ways win the game for them, so I think it's moot. Like, I just have to pass the turn holding up Shouldered's Edict forever. Oh, don't do it. Oh, okay. No, that's fine. That's a perfectly reasonable way to play this game. Sure. Do I just concede here? I think I just concede to 2 sets of Urza Saga tokens. Like, on my mulligan to 5, this deals with 1 Urza Saga. The Dark Depths beats me at some point. My opponent can create an Urza Saga that never goes away by using the Thespian Stage ability again. I don't beat Urza Saga. Lesson learned. GG. Okay, my opponent sat there for 5 minutes and didn't do anything, and then took a mulligan. My hand is medium minus. I don't think this is good enough against enough different decks that I keep it. Yeah, this is a much more versatile hand. Just like Thoughtseize into Hymn to Turok paves the way. I keep 1 Edict. And I should be able to play a reasonable game of Magic against most things. I would love to win this match and go positive with the Halloween deck list. Sure. We're potentially Delvering over there. Could be something like Sneak and Show as well. A very fast shuffle. I don't think I'm going to play around Daze this game. I think I would rather just jam. Force of Will pitching Atraxa. We are doing show and tell type things. Vesuvan Drifter, that's fine. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual is very good. That gets me up to 4 mana. Which means I can take my opponent's 2 remaining cards, a Grizzlebrand and a Force of Will. Please sacrifice a non-token creature. And we've cleared the board. Game's not over. Like, game is very, very much not over. That was about their best possible draw for me, specifically, because then I get to just, like, kick Gatekeeper that. Instead of awkwardly playing this out as a 2-2. Get out. Okay. So from here, I guess I would like to draw a copy of the One Ring. And just, like, start accumulating cards. My opponent having 1 card in hand is not scary. My opponent having multiple in hand is. Because that means that like show and tell plus creature is live. Okay. That's fine. I'm happy with that land being in play. My opponent needs to play that to like work towards things like sneak attack being castable. They're at 15. I am just gonna play my cards out. I effectively have my opponent on a 2-turn clock. The Ancient Tomb life loss is like very real right now. Oh, nice. It's a little hard to have a read on what my opponent could have in hand, because like they could very easily have half a combo. They very easily could have a counter spell like Force of Will. Regardless, I'm just jamming. And we'll draw a card to see if my specific card is Thoughtseize. It isn't, but it's a swamp. So, we got game 1, which is a big deal, because now we have 2 chances to win a post-sideboard game. So, I'm probably interested in these 7 cards. I think I want to surgically extract pieces of my opponent's combo. I don't think I'm interested in Lashwrithe. Kind of wish I had like a Pithing Needle or 2 in here. That's a card that should have been in the sideboard. I should have done like 2 Null Rods, 2 Pithing Needles, because it hits like Wishclaw Talisman, Urza Saga, which is a problem card. It's awkward that Gatekeeper only does the Edict thing if it's kicked. I think I'm still keeping all of my Edict effects because they're good versus Vesuvan Drifter. Gifted Aetherborn is pretty mediocre. And maybe I play 3 Surgicals. I think I'm just going to get punked the game where I'm on the draw a decent portion of the time. Dark Rit, 5 mana, Thoughtseize into the One Ring. Keep. Hold on now. Hold on now, don't do it. Don't do it. This hand was so fucking good. God damn it. Alright. I'll put in the One Ring. I think I want to start drawing cards immediately. And I need to find Edicts ASAP. Sure. I'll lose some life. Okay, there's an Edict. This is all going to be very weird. Very, very, very weird. Okay. Cast Dark Ritual. Cast second Dark Ritual. I can now do this kicked. Does my opponent flinch if I Thoughtseize them? Let's find out. He did not flinch. I take a creature. So my opponent draws 7 in response to the next card that I play. I think it's supposed to be Vampire Nighthawk, and I keep this for later. I don't know, maybe I kick this. Okay, that's in play. I don't bother with the second Thoughtseize. That doesn't accomplish anything. All right. We'll see how good the One Ring is. All right, opponent's down to 6. But, like, they've got 7 life gain on a stick here. All right, looks like we're show and telling again. And that is a reason to attempt to kick this and then put this in off show and tell. But I kind of want to be able to, like, live the dream of draw another Dark Rit. Oh, cool. That's so much better than I expected, honestly. Anyway, I want to be able to live the dream of draw another Dark Ritual and then Thoughtseize into Gatekeeper to, like, maybe actually defend it. Alright, we could still show and tell anyway here. In which case, I think I just make a land drop. Alright, yeah, I'll trade. 100% trade. Okay. Now, my opponent is going to have a very, 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 very good hand. However, I have the One Ring in play. That's worth a lot of cards. Is it worth 15 cards? Depends how long I stay alive. I guess in my ideal world, I would like to draw Dark Ritual plus extra discard spells. Surgical's not bad either. Opponent pitched a Veil of Summer. Potentially means that they have another. Let's draw. Show me Potato Salad. I'm fine trading Inquisition for Lotus Petal here. Okay. That's a really good hand. My opponent can't put the sneak attack into play as of next turn. As of right now. I kind of want to take the Brainstorm and then cast Thoughtseize and have them either give me a critical card or blow Lotus Petal, rather than cast Thoughtseize, have them brainstorm in response and hide their goodies. All right, let's take the brainstorm. And then Thoughtseize targeting you. Would you like to give up Lotus Petal? You would. That's fine. That gives me more time to answer the sneak attack. There's a sneak attack there that I accidentally crossed out. Nope. Well, you know what? We're just getting rid of that. We've misclicked a couple times over there. But I know what's going on. I know what we've got to beat. Surgical Extraction. That's not quite good right now. It's almost good. Like, it becomes good. I don't think I surgical. I think I try to potentially dodge show and tell for one turn, and then try to discard something relevant. All right. So, Lashwrithe is currently in my sideboard, correct? Just before I make my plays? Yes. So, Swamp. Draw cards. You gonna Hull Breacher me? No. Okay. So, instant sorcery artifact. And Inquisition specifically does not hit Emrakul or Sneak Attack, which is savage. Okay. Let's try to set up here. Opponent goes to 6. Do I start with Surgical Extraction to see what their hand is like now? Like, do Surgical Extraction on Show and Tell? My life total is very awkward. I die to my own One Ring, even if I live through Emrakul. 16. Why wasn't one of these a Thoughtseize? Fuck. Alright, let's make a plan. Surgical Extraction on Show and Tell. Paying 2 life. Let's Force a Will, pitching Force a Will. Do I Inquisition to potentially take a Lotus Petal so that it's harder for my opponent to play Sneak Attack and Activate? I think so. Inquisition target you. Okay. Understood. Play Vampire Nighthawk. Opponent needs to draw exactly Lotus Petal to beat me? No, that's not true, right? Show and Tell still does it. Show and Tell put in Sneak Attack, Volcanic Island, Sneak Attack, Activate, Emrakul. My opponent has cards, has outs that beat me. But they have to draw it naturally. They cannot cantrip towards it. Hot damn. That is a 3-2 finish with the Halloween special. Hat goes back on for the outro. We earned the hat. Honestly, that went really well. I am happy with the deck list that I ran. In trying to play a vampire deck list, I think this was much more successful than the original build that I drafted up. It turns out that when you have a giant pile of Death Touchers and a huge source of card advantage, you can plow through fair decks relatively well. And if you play a very heavy sideboard hate card, you can have a respectable match versus combo. With the exception of Urza Saga specifically, which I do feel like was a problem. I felt like I was playing reasonable games of Magic versus the entire field, which was honestly surprising. And I think if like some of those null rods become pithing needles and I end up with like 3 pithing needles in the board, or maybe 2, like helping out with the Urza Saga problem, this is not all that bad. Now, the One Ring is definitely the glue that holds the deck together. The only reason that I can effectively trade 1-for-1 all day with my opponents is that I know that this is coming. I think if you're going to play something like this, you need something like Phyrexian Arena, the One Ring, Palantir of Ornthonk, something like that to make sure that you can pull ahead as the game goes along. The One Ring specifically runs into some problems with Orcish Bowmasters, but, you know, that's kind of how the format is right now, right? So yeah, if you need your copies of Vampire Nighthawk for your next Legacy event, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. Folks, I hope you have a wonderful Halloween and a great rest of the day. See ya!